Paula, could we have a word at some point today to discuss this, and specifically how far we go in terms of the wording below? I'm sending this just to you at this stage. I'm very concerned that we may get to a position where we go so far in our commitments that we actually fuel the story and turn it into something bigger than it is. I'm not at all complacent about the issues, but there is a real danger in going too far in commitments about past cases. This is for two reasons. First, the substance of the report doesn't justify this response. Indeed, the response is at such a level that our current media strategy would mean there would be some coverage, but not very much. If we say publicly that we'll look at past cases, whether from recent history or going further back, we will open this up very significantly into front page news. In media terms, it becomes mainstream, very high profile. It would also give James Arbuthnot a very strong case for asking for a parliamentary statement from BIS. My second concern is the impact this would have more broadly. It would have the ballistic impact which AB fears. It would lead to a very public narrative about the very nature of the business, raising questions about Horizon. The reality of what Second Sight has found would be misunderstood, and having an impact on public views about the Post Office and really widening the issue to the whole network. Do you agree that Mr. Davis is here giving you personal advice on the extent to which past convictions are reviewed on the basis of the extent of the media coverage that each decision might generate?
My understanding at the time was that he, and I think the Post Office generally, and we've seen similar comments from the chairman as well, believed we were dealing with a small number of cases, and the numbers that were coming forward seemed to, at that stage, clearly more came later, seemed to indicate that was the case. And the inquiry heard from Mark Davis last week, I think, where he explained, and that was my understanding at the time, that what he was trying to do was to minimize misinterpretation. It was wrong, because clearly if all past cases needed investigating, they needed investigating. But at the time, that wasn't what the Post Office thought. And I think what he was trying to do here was to, as I say, to minimize misinterpretation and exaggeration in the media.
Do you agree that his first point says you should make a decision about the extent to which you review possible past miscarriages of justice by reference to the extent of media coverage that it will generate?
It does say, it could be read that way. That wasn't my...
Is there another way of reading it?
That I wouldn't have...
And if there is, please explain which words help to read. He's saying don't go back 10 years, or say that you'll go back 10 years. Our current approach would mean there's going to be some coverage, but not very much, the usual suspects. If we say we'll look back at past cases, we'll be on the front page. Isn't he directly saying?
Yes, I can see that that's what he's saying, but my mindset at the time when I received this is that we were working on specific cases that were coming forwards, and we opened up...
No, hold on, Ms Vennells. The email that you had sent, to which this is a response, posits, should we look back 12 to 18 months since separation?
Yes.
Or should we go back further? Why aren't we going back
Yeah.
further, 5 to 10 years? And this says, you can't do that. You'll be on the front page. That's a grossly improper perspective, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Do you know why he cut everyone else out of the chain and replied directly to you?
No, I don't.
Was he a very trusted advisor?
He was trusted by all of the team. As I said yesterday, I trusted all of the team, none of them more than the others.
Did you remain in contact with Mr. Davis after you left Post Office?
I did.
Did you exchange messages with him about media statements that you might make and the media lines that you might take in the announcement of this inquiry, for example?
I believe the inquiry has texts that show that.
Even though you'd moved on, he was still advising you into 2020 as the lines to take in your media statements.
I had kept in touch with Mr. Davis for reasons that were very personal to him, and I think he offered that advice at the time.
To what extent did what Mr. Davis advise here affect your decision-making?
I would never, it was simply not the way I worked, have taken a decision based on the advice of one colleague. Never. My way of working was to take as many different views as I possibly could and to involve those individuals in the decision-making as much as I possibly could.
Can we look at the top of page 1, please? Your reply. Mark, thanks for this. I don't think we're too far apart. I didn't say this approach would be our media statement, but they'd need to be aligned. You're right to call this out. I will take your steer. You did take the advice of the PR guy, didn't you?
I really don't remember it relating to the decision.
Hang on now, please. Thank you.
As I tried to say before, what we were working to at this stage was numbers of cases going through a scheme, and a scheme that was going to be opened up to anybody who wanted to come forwards. I understand how this reads, but I don't recall making any conscious decision not to go back and put in place a review of all past criminal cases. My conviction as we were going forwards in this was that this scheme would enable any case any postmaster that wanted their case to be reviewed, that the scheme would allow for that.
You continue